Okay, so back to making Mo Salah's body. Part two, second part of cutting out the boots still. Here we go, we're taking up where we left off with boots. Cutting around those little red bits. You'll see that there's also red bits on there for the detail of the boots. Don't cut those bits out. You can't really tell off the video either, but it is a different shade of red. The details of the boots and the cut lines, they are a different shade of red, a darker shade of red. You can pick that up a little bit better on the football here. But yeah, when you download it from my website, when you download the paper toy, which is just one sheet of A4, the head and the body come on the same sheet of A4. You print that off, and the cut lines and the fold lines are a darker shade of red than the shirt, just so that they stand out a little bit. Yeah, here we have the ball. I'm cutting the ball out. The ball comes in two parts, and it makes it makes a square. It makes a little box ball. When you stick those two halves together, and whilst it might look a bit tricky, it's pretty simple and straightforward once, or at least it's simple and straightforward once you've done one. Like with anything, it always looks a bit tricky, but then once you've done one, it is actually fairly straightforward. So yeah, just cutting through the red line, moving that paper around the scissors. Nice technique, well done, me. You don't, like I say, you don't have to trim off all those little red bits. They sort of become part of the style and the character of the toy. So I'll fold these little bits up. And that's the same for each half of the ball as well. We've got a whole bunch of tabs. Just make sure they fold together, and you see that bit is the first bit that will get stuck together. I'm going to do that now. Like I say, having that little tape holder is brilliant. If you've not got a tape holder, then maybe just cut out a few little sort of thumbnail size bits of sellotape. Just stick them to the edge of the table, and then you can sort of pick them off as and when you need them. But if you can get a little tape dispenser, a little tape holder like that, it really saves you a little bit of fiddling around. So here's the second part of the ball. Second half, just fold those tabs in. Follow those sort of red dotted lines. I think it's sort of fairly self-explanatory, but you know, watching a video like this, the reason why I've done these videos is just so that you can see exactly sort of how I'm putting them together. Add a little bit of tape there. I do exactly the same thing to make two halves of the ball. Tuck those bits in. You can see we'll have those two halves. Flip it around so that the side that has got no tabs on goes into excuse me, goes into slots into the other half of the ball as well. As you can see there, look at that. Line those bits up, and we'll tape that up now. You get a good close-up look there. Whoops. Refocus the camera. Yeah, and like I say, with the sellotape, stick it on one side first, and then line up the edge and the details, and then fold that other bit of the same bit of sellotape over. And yeah, just take your time trying to get it as accurate as possible. It can get a little bit fiddly, but that's all part of the challenge as well. If it was something that was really simple and straightforward to do, it wouldn't be as interesting, I suppose, would it? Hey, you want a bit of a challenge? bit of a crafty challenge, which is exactly what this is for. It's great fun turning turning a flat piece of paper into a little 3D toy. And yeah, there I am, just finishing off the ball, just tidying up those little edges. There's a little valve there, which isn't on any other side. It's a little square, it's a little valve where you pump the ball up. On your head, Mo Salah. There you go. Let's make your boots, Mo Salah. There you go. Let's fold along all those. Like I said before, it's difficult to see on the video, but those fold lines are a different shade of red to the little bits of red detail. Oh, put out of focus again. The little bits of red detail that are sort of like the cut lines and the fold lines. You'll see it when you download it and you print it off. Let's get all those tabs folded. The boots are exactly the same outline as the arms. Come together exactly the same. And line up those stripes and details on that side there. Bit of tape on that half. Fold it back in, line it up again, and then just fold that over. While you've got a hold of the sort of the tab on the inside of the boot. And do the other side. Tuck it in, line it up, and fold it over. Same there as well. There's not as much to, as many details to line up on this edge, on this bit, sort of the toe end of the boot. Tape over the studs, over his toes. There you go, Mo Salah. There's your first little boot. I've made your boot, Mo Salah. How's that? With the boots, there's no left foot or right foot. They're both exactly the same. So it doesn't matter which boot goes on which side, and you'll see that later in the in part 3 of Mo Salah, where I put him all together. It'll just be a little video of sticking the boots onto his body, his arms onto his body, and his head as well. I'll have a short little video that shows you how to do all of those things. Now you can see once you've folded all the bits together, even before you stick it together, it's already formed the shape that you want. And then just take a little bit of time just to line things up. You might have to sort of adjust some of your fold lines just a little bit, just to line things up. And then you can stick it together. Oh, don't go too far off camera. Bring it back. There we go. Oh, remember that little cut line that I made that I shouldn't have done? You can see that there. And while it's not ideal, but you sort of, these things happen. Not everything can be perfect. There we go. Just finishing off his other little boots with a bit of tape on his toe. Round to the underside, onto his studs. There we are, just sort of squishing out that back part where I've not made the best fold line. Anyway, onto his body. There we go. That's the sort of. It sounds quite gruesome actually. It's his neck, the bit where we stick his head on. And we'll fold along his groin, and then down where his socks are. can see I've got some little Adidas logo details in on this one. There you go, look, see. Unfortunately, as I've said before, completely out of focus, but there you go. Yeah, those little details of sort of the club logos and emblems, yeah, they're not on the free paper toys that you can download because I've not got the rights to use those and distribute it. Folding all along the edges there. You can sort of see there what I mentioned before about the cut lines and the fold lines. They are a darker red. I can get focus on that, or a bit on the other side. They are a darker red to the shirt, so they do actually stand out when you've got it, when you printed it out. Let's see if you can see it on there. You can just about make it out, and certainly on that side as well, where you need to fold. Just take your time, pinch that together. It doesn't have to be a crease that's sort of sharp and that you have to sort of run your thumbnail along or anything. But here we go, lining up the tape. So as always, tape on one side, line up there where it's with the where the shirt and the shorts meet together, that the waistband. Stick that together. You get a bit of if you're using tape, you do get a bit of a shine off it, but what I do actually use a hot glue gun to stick together most of my paper toys. But obviously they come with their own little sort of like dangers and issues and problems, and obviously it's sort of like if you're under 10 or something, I suppose you wouldn't have access to a hot glue gun. So sellotape's the sort of quickest and easiest and cheapest and least messy way to stick things together. That's one of the ideas behind these paper toys, is that sort of anybody can access them and has hopefully has access to scissors and tape and stuff, and you can put them together yourself at home real quick, or if you're a school teacher watching this or you're an educator, by all means print out a bunch of these for the kids in your class. And have fun, and crafting something that looks cool. Anyway, just finishing off the body there, lining up the waistband and sticking it together on the back there for little Mo, number 11, and I think we're nearly finished. I'll see you in part 3 when we stick him all together. Just line him up there so you can see that there's his body, there's his head, his boots are going to go down there, and his little arms will go either side there. Look, make sure you have the thumbs facing the front like that. Hey!